You are now listening to the Jay Porks Experience. Listen free on iTunes or at theandydareshow.com. Now, here's Jay.
Yo, what is the word, people? Welcome to another action-packed edition of the Jay Porks Experience. Come to you live from the sexless dungeon of horrors, from the place I will die alone, from the poorhouse. Helping me out on the other side of the glass, making sure this is a well-oiled podcast machine. Every week is the ever-popular Nobody. Got a couple of things to get to this week. We're on time. That's always good. It's always good to record your podcast on the day that you agreed with the boss people that's when you were going to do it. And I'm glad I could be of service here. So what goes on? Quick recap of the week here. Well, not a quick recap of the week, but just I'm going to discuss some things and some stuff like I always do. Let's start off with Studio 8H at 30 Rockefeller Plaza Sunday evening. A night to remember, as Saturday Night Live celebrated its 40th anniversary. And the stars, they were out. They had a 3-hour broadcast. A 3-hour broadcast. So many guests were in it. So many past cast members were in attendance. So many past hosts were in attendance. I don't even think regular people were allowed in this place. I just think the crowd was full of SNL alumni. And it was fun. It was fun. Here's my beef. I'll tell you what my beef is. Now, here's the thing. First, let me say, Saturday Night Live is an institution. And when you've been on for 40 years, you don't have to do things that, you don't have to decide, my 40th anniversary, I'm going to make the people happy. I understand that Saturday Night Live did this for them, that they didn't do this for us. They don't need to do this for us. I understand that totally. But at the same time, all this was a victory lap. All this was a couple of people come out, like Jimmy Fallon and Justin Timberlake come out for 5 minutes. They do some monologue thing. It was endless monologues. You know, when the host comes out and he says a couple of things, it was like that after every commercial break. They showed clips. Okay. They had some sketches, a lot of taped stuff. Weekend Update was good because Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did it, along with Jan Curtin, I think her name is. The first Weekend Update chick. Now, what would have been fun, what you should have did, where's Norm Macdonald? I know Norm Macdonald's there. I saw him in the building. Let him read us. Let him say fuck on Weekend Update one time. For old time's sake. For old time's sake. Everybody was there. Eddie Murphy was there. Eddie Murphy has never come back to Saturday Night Live. For no good reason. Just the reason where, I don't want that to define me. Okay. So Eddie has not been back at Saturday. None of the 25th he didn't come. None of these anniversaries. He doesn't do commentary on on the DVDs. He won't let them sell the best of Eddie Murphy or whatever. He doesn't. He wants to. It's like he distanced himself from Saturday Night Live as much as he could. So Eddie Murphy came out and was on stage for 73 seconds. Said this is great and left. They had some old school commercials. Had Colon Blow. Phil Hartman doing the Colon Blow commercial. That's another thing. That show needed a little more Phil Hartman. Needed a little more. I know you only have what you can work with, but could have used a little more Phil Hartman. Could have definitely used a little more Phil Hartman. Performing, I think there was Paul Simon, Paul McCartney, Was that? I'm not sure if Alicia Keys' performance was taped or not. I don't think it was. Miley Cyrus was there. She performed. You know what? I liked Wayne's World to end the night. I do think they should have did some more live sketches. What I think they should have did was they should have revamped some of the old sketches, like they did with like Wayne's World. They didn't replay an old Wayne's World. They did a new Wayne's World. They should have did. They should have did Mr. Roberts' Neighborhood in the updated version. You know, where Eddie Murphy, where somebody knocks on the door and Eddie Murphy says, "Who is it?" And he opens the door and he gets shot because he's an unarmed black guy. They should have did something like that. But again, when a show's been on for 40 years, they have the right to do what they will with their 40th anniversary. They don't have to listen to me. And that's fine. That's cool, Have fun with it. There was also an after party. Now, Saturday Night Live always has after parties. But there was an after party of after parties. Now, Jim Miller wrote the book Live from New York. It's a recently released book about Saturday Night Live, chronicling stuff from the 40 years that it's been on the air. So Jim Miller was on Dan Patrick yesterday, and he stumbled into the studio from this after party. Said he got 2 hours of sleep. This isn't a young guy, this is some old guy, Jim Miller. So on stage at the after party is Paul McCartney, Alicia Keys or something, and they said that, and Jimmy Fallon gets on the mic and says, "Listen, Prince, if you're here, we need you to come up on stage." And Prince made his way to the stage. So, like, Paul McCartney, Miley Twerk Monster, Prince. That sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty rad. Crazy. Just reading some of this, go over some of the performances here. We'll skip Michael Bolton. Taylor Swift, Jimmy Fallon, and Dan Aykroyd. I saw her standing there when the clock struck midnight. Paul McCartney, Taylor Swift doing Shake It Off with Paul McCartney singing backup vocals to Taylor Swift. Bill Murray casually banging away on the tambo. It's nothing. It's nothing to shake a stick at. Haim Sisters with Prince, Questlove. And towards the end of the night, around 3 a.m., the B-52s showed up and sang Love Shack. That sounds fucking crazy. The only thing is, though, everybody is in tuxedos. That looks so uncomfortable to me. I have to get like a real deal tux that's like comfortable, so I can attend some of these crazy after parties. I remember that time I wore a suit to the Darkness. I went to the Darkness at Terminal 5 and I wore a suit because I had just bought the suit and I went to a wedding the day before. So I was walking around Terminal 5 and the security guards were letting me go wherever I wanted because they thought I owned the place. Then about 20 minutes later, like, "Hey, wait a second. Get down here." Like, all right. Womp, womp, womp. But so Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live happened. Wayne's World were they were like, "Kanye, don't get up, Kanye." When you see, even Garth likes Beck better than Kanye West. I mean, come on. Even Garth was like, "I don't know. I kind of think Beck was the best." So cray cray. Okay. Moving along to things I should have addressed last week. Have you seen the Straight Outta Compton trailer? Woo! That shit looks crazy. What? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I have never felt happier. Like the movie trailer game has stepped up. I get so excited now. I saw the Entourage trailer a couple weeks ago. I was fucking pumped. The Straight Outta Compton shit. First of all, they got actors that look like Dre and Cube and Eazy-E at young ages, which is great. The trailer has there's fucking I saw a dumpster, I saw a garbage can on fire being flung through a window. I saw a chick smoking weed, having sex with each other. What? Can I get into? Can this come out now? Oh my god! I jumped out of my chair. I was like, yes. See, I wasn't watching the Grammys, so I didn't get it on Grammy Day. So then I heard it came out, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check out that trailer. And actually, on Friday, I said to the kid Matt I work with, I said, "You seen this trailer at Compton trailer?" He said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "I gotta check it out." Went home, watched it. I said, "Oh my fucking lord, this shit looks dope. Shit looks more doper than any heroin that's ever been created. As dope could be. That's what that shit is. Woo! I have got to see that. That movie looks crazy." And real quick in the first half here. John Oliver's back, and he's taken down major corporations that are evil one at a time. And it starts this week. It was the tobacco industry. Blah, 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 blah. The smoking rate in the United States has dropped from 43% in 1965 to 18% today, thanks to strict laws outlawing cigarette ads. With America largely kicking its smoking habit, the tobacco industry has been forced to make up the revenues abroad, leading to court battles in countries like Australia, Uruguay, and Togo, one of the 10 poorest nations in the world. Oliver's takedown also focuses on the extreme length companies like Philip Morris International are going to place their products in the hands of youth, including a Marlboro-sponsored kiosk outside an Indonesian school where teens can purchase a single cigarette for a dime. Can we pause for a second? Where the fuck was this when I was in school? When I was in school, we had to go to the store and hope that they would sell us the cigarettes when we were 14 years old. You know what's crazy? It's crazy that when I was 14 years old, I was legit going into stores and buying cigarettes, and that was okay. Are you guys crazy? What kind of world are we living in? I mean, and you've seen pictures of me. When I was 14, I didn't look like I was old. Right now, I barely look my age. Can't even grow a fucking beard. But there's an Indonesian school that they got Lucy's for a dime outside the school at the Marlboro kiosk. Where is that at? Tobacco's unorthodox marketing with laws. No, countries that have responded to Big Tobacco's unorthodox marketing with laws that allow government to place grotesque images of smokers' lungs and blackened teeth on cigarette packaging. But even those measures have resulted in threats of billion-dollar lawsuits from tobacco giants in international court. One such battle is being waged in Togo, where Philip Morris International, a company with annual earnings of 80 billion, is threatening a nation with a GDP of 4.3 billion over their plans to add harsh imagery to cigarette boxes, since most of the population is illiterate and therefore can't read warning labels. So you got a country that most of the adult population can't read, but they can have cigarettes. Like, instead of maybe trying to help them read, let's just poison their lungs. To help bridge the gap between the Marlboro Man and a lung that looks like you've been breathing through baked ziti, Oliver introduces a compromise: Jeff the diseased lung in a cowboy hat. So there's Jeff the Diseased Lung in a cowboy hat, and he is the new mascot for Last Week Tonight and cigarettes. And there's posters hung up in Togo. In Uruguay, there's posters hung up. There's T-shirts in Togo. Let me just say this: I smoke cigarettes. I smoke cigarettes. This is true. Doesn't mean that this isn't right. People shouldn't be smoking. They should be. These companies should be not trying to sell more cigarettes. They should be trying to figure. You know what they should be doing? See, if Philip Morris should just get in the weed game. Yes, yes. It only took 15 minutes. It only took 15 minutes for weed to make the podcast. Note to self. Philip Morris should just get in the weed game. So then when they start losing the cigarette money, they can come back with some marijuana, the fastest growing industry in the land. That's just me. I'm just a guy. Just a guy who says things. So I'm watching John Oliver's brilliant takedown of the tobacco industry, and I'm thinking, I agree with this guy so much, and I smoke cigarettes. So hashtag Jeff We Can. And these countries being sued, John Oliver compared it to if there were three friends and one of them smoked and the other two didn't like that this guy was smoking a cigarette, that friend would sue those two people. Isn't that weird though that smoking in America is is from 43% to 18%? Doesn't it seem like more people smoke? I know they smoke in less places. You know what it is? Because people aren't allowed to smoke indoors anymore, so you see them outside and you see large masses of people smoking, and you think that that's, oh look, lots of people smoking. Everybody smokes still. Yet when I don't have a cigarette, not a damn soul in the world smokes. Crazy how that works, right? It's very odd. We'll get to we'll get some headlines when we come back after this.
Hey everybody, this is Andy from the Andy Dare Show. Just thanking you for checking out the Jay Porks Experience. If you want to learn more about Jay, follow him on Twitter at JayPorks. Follow him on Instagram at JayPorks. JayPorks.com for the podcast, articles, pictures, you name it. There's a running theme here. It's Jay Porks. So for 2015, if you want to support the Dare Podcast Network, all you got to do is go to theandydareshow.com and click on the Amazon banner, and you will be tipping your cap to the Jay Porks Experience and all the fine broadcasting here at Dare Network. Thanks for listening, and back to the Jay Porks Experience.
And we are back. And if you're listening to this, you're too late. And if Drake drops another mixtape, I'm not going to care about it. Here's the thing. I don't care. I mean, unless you're an attractive Canadian woman, I don't care what you do. So for Drake to continue to put out music, I don't really care. And somebody hit me on the... I got hit on the text. It's weird. I get hit on the text with, Drake is dissing Childish Gambino. And I'm thinking, A, I don't care. Like, why I'm the authority of Childish Gambino now. I don't know. My friends hit me up like I know the guy. I like Community and I like Childish Gambino. I don't know him. So Drake dissed a TV star and a comedian? Here's the thing, you can't win. Because Childish Gambino isn't even a rapper. He just does it for fun. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's working on a TV show for FX right now. He's one of the... He had an exclusive deal with NBC and he got out of it. Ask actors how that works. You don't get out of exclusive deals. You don't get out of them. How do you think Tina Fey was stuck on 30 Rock all those years? You can't. She's if she's in a network deal, you can't get out of them. They let him out of his network deal. He's gonna have his own show. He's hanging out with Jaden Smith. Somebody said, "Yeah, but he dates a 17-year-old girl." Fuck, do I care? Me personally? What do I care? And how old is he? 19? How old is this guy? So in a world where Drake continues to try to be relevant, the more people that enjoy the tones, the sounds of Drake, I mean, that's the problem with hip hop. That's the whole problem with it. And I can appreciate a good lyricist. That's why I don't pay attention to Drake. And if you're reading this, you're too late. I get it. We get what you did. You had one album left for your deal, so you released it, so you can get out of your contract. That's good. That's great. That's small business. Tell it to someone who cares. It's funny, I grew up with a bunch of hardcore gangster friends, and they listen to Drake, and I just don't consider them tough anymore. All these kids were so tough. They all bump Drake. I can understand if you're a woman. If you're a girl and you listen to Drake, okay. Man. Man, he's from Canada. Has Canada ever done anything right? Man. Van Morrison's releasing a new album of duets, because it's 1958 and we needed Van Morrison to release music. Steve Winwood, Bobby Womack. It's going to be a duets album. And there's more new Modest Mouse. Modest Mouse have already put out 3 songs from their upcoming Strangers to Ourselves LP, due out March 17th via Epic Records. Yesterday brings the 4th, The Ground Walks, with Time in a Box. These are the weirdest fucking song titles in the world. The first 3 have all sounded different. And the same is true for this new one. The production the production here may be cleaner than the earlier albums, but the song proves that they haven't forgotten how to generally be weird. Okay, so that's over at Brooklyn Vegan. You can get that. Also, this isn't like huge news, but I just felt I'd pass through it. Kid Rock is going on a tour that's called $20 Best Night Ever. So you can go see him for $20. I'm with it. I mean, I'm not with seeing him, but I'm with seeing an artist that I like for $20. That'd be incredible. So here's hoping more artists go on $20 tours. And Weird Al Yankovic covered Woody Guthrie on The Late Late Show. That's right, folks. Thomas Lennon is the guest host on The Late Late Show until James Corden takes over for Craig Ferguson next month. And he made the most of his brief stint by backing up Weird Al Yankovic on an extremely particular Woody Guthrie cover. Excuse me. The setup. Now that Yankovic is out of his 32-year-old record contract, he wants to pursue his true passion, authentic American folk music. That manifests itself into a promo for Yankovic's mandatory world tour, poorly disguised as a rare Guthrie cover. An accordion is involved, as it should be. And you can check that out. That's on Stereo Gum. Stereo Gum is bringing it to you. And continuing in the headlines powered by Antiquiet, which is what I should have said at the beginning of this. Headlines are always powered by Andy Quiet, and we're going to continue with them. Jack White is mad. It's, well, I stopped talking for a second. So, ethics in journalism. So, here's what happened Jack White has a tour rider that has been leaked. What's a tour rider? A rider is the thing that the crew needs backstage. Brown M&Ms, water, stuff like that. Somebody leaked Jack White's guacamole recipe, and he's mad about it. So he sent a letter. No, he self-published this, and he wrote, "Wow, classy. Seems like there's a new rule for number one up and coming journalists. Don't let the facts get in the way of clickbait. At the risk of incurring even more of this hoo-ha, and even more through our management sent out a letter to clarify this. And since this seems to be all anyone can ask me about lately, here's the real deal, and hopefully it'll explain the nonsensical scenario and we can move on with this from our lives. First off, this is none of your business, but I have no specific demands in my dressing room. I know I could ask for lots of things, but I actually don't ask for anything. I take with me what I need, and that ain't much. Anything on the rider is for the band and the crew. This guacamole recipe is my hilarious tour manager's inside joke with local promoters. It's his recipe, not mine. It's just something to break up the boredom, seeing who can make it the best. Though I wouldn't know because I've never had it. I can't even make Kool-Aid, let alone cook any real food enough to have a recipe. Sorry, I don't have that talent. All right, Jack. So so you passed the buck is what you did. That's what he did. That is here's the buck, I'm passing it. Because he just said that anything on that rider is for the crew and the band. So it's not for him. It's not for me, the mighty Jack White, but it's for my, the lesser folks, the peasants in my entourage. Continuing on. Bananas. Did it occur to anyone that someone on the tour might have an allergy to them? No? One day some fantasy journalist out there will call someone in the biz and actually have a rider explain to them. I think he meant fancy journalist instead of fantasy journalist, or whatever. Maybe none of them have ever been on tour. Well, here's the thing, Jack. Let me tell you something about that. Journalists don't usually go on tour and play music. That usually doesn't. People in bands usually go on tour and play music. So a journalist doesn't know anything about a rider. Continuing on. Maybe none of them have been on tour. Yeah. Because I'm sure the Spin Magazine guys are going on tour. Oh boy. Oh well, let's move on. First Amendment issues. I fully believe in the freedom of the press, and I also defend anyone's right to free speech. And I defend the right to free information in regards to public funds. But never in my 20 years of playing shows has my contract and tour rider been published in a paper that I can recall. Do you know why we don't do that or want that? 100 articles about bananas, free speech, and guacamole is why. It's because people don't understand what a rider is, or what the terms of a contract are. They're out of their element. And you can't blame them for it. And people who write about this know this. Write about that, know this. People want a rider to be a list of demands that a diva insists occur lest he or she refuse to play a note of music. But in reality, it's just some food and drinks backstage on the hunt for the 100 workers and guests who have to live in a concrete bunker for 15 hours. Some people bring their own living rooms on tour. Some people ask for a huge spread. Who cares? What you're looking for is someone throwing a tantrum because they didn't get their brown M&Ms. Sorry to disappoint. Someone printed that I'm never going back to Oklahoma again. Not true. I love Oklahoma. That's why I booked this show instead of playing Chicago or Atlanta for 4 times as much money. Ask around Tulsa. I've been there at least 3 times in the last 2 albums. I love it there. Our booking agent won the college that other artists might not book shows there. Of course they did. It's bad business what that school paper did, and really rude. Of course. Of course they're going to tell them to wise up. Am I pissed at the students of Oklahoma University? Absolutely not. Am I disappointed in the young journalists at that school paper? Absolutely. But I forgive them. They're young and have learned their lesson about truth and ethics, hopefully. And all they have to do is Google this to know that it's not worth it. Look for real problems instead next time. Look for the truth, not fake drama. I got pissed during my show and berated the crowd. No, sorry, didn't happen. I made I made jokes about the paper publishing that info, so which of us is thin skinned? They have the freedom of speech, but I don't at my show? Okay. I guess the rules change for different people. The crowd were amazing, and we played for 2.5 hours that night. People were told to delete photos on their camera? I don't know much about that, but it must be a miscommunication about what was public property at the college and the contract we had worked with the university to let us do our work in peace. But I'll give you an example. If someone working at a theater we played at started taking pictures of all of our workers and our gear, they'd probably get fired by their theater or promoter. Sorry to the student paper budding press paparazzi on that one. But this is a TMZ assignment. But is this a TMZ assignment? Or can you give us some peace while we try to put on a show for the students? Give us a break, man. And then, to end this, I know it's a fun thing for people to try and turn me into a jerk and a diva, but in this case it's pretty ridiculous and almost has nothing to do with me. Jack, you just sent a 5-page letter out to all publications saying that you're not a diva. Constitutes diva. To me, anyway. And it's actually about ethics in journalism. And there are a bunch fuck page views. Basically, this is fuck page views. And you can check that out. That's over at Annie Quiet. Your source for quality. Jack White. And Weird Al covered Woody Guthrie, got that. And the Stone Temple Pilots have announced the tour. You're waiting for me to tell you which lead singer. Chester Bennington. Scott Weiland's doing his own thing. But Stone Temple Pilots have announced the spring tour kicking off April 8th in Seattle, Washington. $1 will be donated. $1 per ticket will be donated for Music for Relief, a nonprofit organization dedicated to disaster relief and environmental protection. Funds raised will support long-term Hurricane Sandy recovery in New Jersey, including housing assistance and home repairs, because the DeLeos are from New Jersey. And New York City gets Irving Plaza, April 27th. April 27th. Now, I will tell you right now if I'm going to that or not. April 27th falls on a Monday. Holy shit. I might be seeing the Stone Temple Pilots. Okay. So Seattle, San Francisco, Anaheim, LA, Denver, Dallas, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Chicago, Silver Springs, Montclair, New Jersey, New York, Boston, and Philly. And that is where you can catch the Stone Temple Pilots this year. Stone Temple Pilots with Chester Bennington. And the Stone Temple Pilots will be touring, and you can get that at Annie Quiet. All of the dates are up at anniequiet.com right now. That's the good thing about news breaking while I'm recording the podcast. I could just press pause, hit unpause, and let you know where you can find that written by me. I'm happy that that happened. And they're playing New York City on a Monday. So, yes, I might be able to actually go to a concert for once in my life. I know. I know. It's weird. It's strange. Okay. I believe. I believe I'm out of things. I can't believe that happened. I was out of things before that happened. All right. Before I get up on out of here, because I have to go to work and all that boring nonsense, let me give you the list of websites you need to go to help keep me in business before I get up on out of here. First of all, there's concertconfessions.com. That's for all your live music news and reviews. For the fans, by the fans. If you want to get up in, hit me up at jporks on Twitter. Hit me up on Facebook. I will show you the way. Also got ChristinaRocks.com, Hang the DJ, 89xradio.com every Sunday morning. It's the Time Warp Throwback Thursday, only on Sunday. Throwback Alternative. It's fun times. Tweet at her, tweet random things, and see if she replies. Also, TheAndyDeerShow.com for all your Deer Network podcast needs, whether that's the Tyler Cale Show, whether that's Smooth Operators with Tyler and Andy, the flagship show, The Andy Deer Show, or the sultry smooth tones of the J Porks Experience. We will have that for you, all at Deer Network at TheAndyDeerShow.com. And of course, every week, folks, the headlines, they be powered by Annie Quiet. Until next time, whiskey, weed, and Warren Zevon. Late.
This has been the J Porks Experience. Thank you so much for listening.